Alright guys, so in this module we're going to cover one of the most important things when it comes to managing your rental property, and that's record keeping. This can help you avoid a lot of liabilities that may come up in the future. This also makes sure that you're ready for the tax season because everything is kept organized. So storing these important information in a safe and secured place is a must. And if you can back it up on a digital storage platform, then do so as well. So I'm going to go over a few things that you should be implementing to make sure you are keeping good records when it comes to managing your property. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you store all rental application and lease agreements in a safe and secured place. See, the lease ensures that both parties understand their responsibilities. And you as a landlord or as a property management have to make sure that you're protecting the tenant's right by protecting their information. Now, also by storing it in a safe and secure place, if anything happens, so say for instance you want to do an eviction, you have the information, you have the right information to go ahead and file a process. So if there's any discrimination claim that come up in the future, you can actually defend yourself properly because you have the lease application of all the rental applications that you've taken in. If there's any emergency with a tenant and you need to contact somebody, you have emergency contact that's on that rental application. So say for instance the tenant just disappeared out of the blue. Then you could call and find out what happened to the tenant. Or if the tenant actually have a life event emergency and all of our family, our relatives lived out of state, then you can contact their emergency contact for them. Also, you want to make sure that when you're doing your walkthrough, you have a detailed checklist. That way that anything comes back up at the end of the lease, so anything is damaged, you have it detailed. If anything that needs to be done, you have that detailed. So any kind of problems that show up in the future, you can protect yourself by having the checklist so you see what work needed to be done, what work was already done, so there's no problems in the future. Also, you want to make sure that you document everything when it comes to the checklist. With your rental application, you have your lease agreement, and then when they're about to move in, you have that walkthrough checklist. What you want to make sure you're doing is documenting everything, so anything that needs to be replaced or repaired. Also, both parties need to go through it in detail and make sure that everything is mentioned throughout the lease and throughout every room, anything that needs to be done. And both parties need to sign those documents. So you are protecting yourself in the future if they say that you're being a slumlord because you give me a property that needed to be replaced and nothing was done. Well, you could go back to your walkthrough list and say, well, you didn't mention anything about need to be replaced here, even though you said when you move in, it wasn't working, or along the line of, I told him before I move in, I need this done. Well, you didn't mention anything right here in the checklist. It doesn't mention anything, and we both signed off on it. So those are things that you want to make sure that you store in a very, very safe place so that if anything in the future comes up, you're protected and you have those documents ready to show proof. Another way to practice good record keeping is to securely store all legal documents. So say for instance, your proof of purchase, that you purchased a property, so it could be your HUD or settlement statement, you want to make sure that you have those in a safe place. So if anything comes up, those are in a secured place for your record. Also, your warranty deed and proof of insurance. So say for instance, with a medical expense, if any event happened where somebody get hurt on the property, or loss of income due to a major repair that needs to be done to the property, or you could simply just have damages done to the property by the tenant and the structure is all messed up and you need to get that fixed. So you want to make sure that you're storing those documents in a secured place as well. The next thing in keeping good records is to make sure that you keep rent receipts. If you take cash payment from a tenant, I recommend that you always give receipts and through email, so you could always bring up those records afterwards. And you will also have a digital trace. So say for instance, proof of payments, because you're sending that receipt over into an email, versus if you write something down, you could miss it or you could misplace it. Also, if anything comes up as far as a dispute over payment because they give you cash, now you could say, well, I emailed you a receipt, here's the receipt. So you have proof of payment. So make sure that you keep in all digital receipts are all receipts. If they give you cash, then you want to make sure that you're sending them some form of receipt. If you're always taking cash, make sure you're covering yourself. Keep your record keeping simple. So use an online platform, or you could simply use Excel to help you during this process as well. So guys, by implementing these three things, storing all rental applications and lease agreements, making sure that your legal documents are in a secured place and easily accessible in case of emergency, And also keeping a good record of all rental receipts will help you keep good records when it comes to you managing your rental properties. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.